So we're essentially in day one of the lockdown. Um, the lockdown, I'm just wondering, is there a better word for it? Because lockdown sounds almost military or paramilitary, but honestly, I don't know if there is a better word. The curfew? Is it a curfew? Is it a lockdown? We even need to establish the terminology for this. Um, I have a few niggling questions that I want to raise in this video. Maybe people can share their thoughts, think about these things. Like I said in the previous videos, I totally understand the need for this. There are some that have said one lady responded to the post I made on Facebook. She is of left wing persuasion, so I wasn't too surprised. But she said the government's done too little, too late, and they should have done this weeks ago. That may be true, but I think it is the right approach now. I'm just going to show you today's newspapers. No copyright infringement intended. I probably won't monetize this video. Um, I have been out. I had to get milk, so I don't think I'm violating the curfew. Food items is one of the essential items. We are allowed our once a day for that, and I was getting that, but I also got these newspapers because this is historic. I'm actually with the journalism course I'm taking. I need to keep it on top of it, but as far as I see it, I haven't broken the curfew. I mean, I had to get milk, so it's necessary. I noticed so the shopkeeper had gloves on. There were a few other people I saw out. People look nervous. It's like wartime. There's really no other way to put it. That's what it feels like. And okay, I haven't lived through wartime, so maybe it sounds a bit flippant to say that, but pretty much everyone is saying it, including the older generation, that it's like those sort of restrictions. Okay, so this is today's headlines. I've tried to get a bit of a mixture, left and right, mostly right to be honest, but anyway, here we go. Daily Mail. The Times leads with a big picture of Boris Johnson making that speech. I'll come back to this one. You must stay at home. There's some things I want to talk about around that. Daily Star, I just got this because they kind of had a skit on the famous Lord Kitchener, excuse me, poster from World War One. Your country needs you to naff off home. Another take on the Prime Minister. It's a Daily Express. For a left-wing perspective, we've got the Daily Mirror. A lot of them obviously lead on the Prime Minister's speech. That's going to be historic. So here's my questions. The rules are that we are allowed out for food, for medicine, for exercise, for fresh air. And those are all sound reasonable. My own personal life, I work from home, I teach online. I don't think I'll be that personally affected as opposed to what some people may be who were used to going outside for work. So I don't think it will necessarily affect me personally as much. I need to have a steady flow of income. At the moment, I'm teaching online. I've no guarantee that will last forever. It's really depending on the student that I'm teaching now, because Chinese students are homebound still. He studies in Beijing, so schools and colleges in Beijing are still shut. But as soon as that starts up again, he'll have to go back, which basically means an end of my lessons with him. I'm a little concerned about that because I don't have a fallback on any other sort of job, so I'm a bit worried, financially speaking, quite worried, in fact. So that's definitely something that needs to be considered. Um, I know there's a petition online for the Chancellor's budget to include freelance people, people who are self-employed, to sort of cover that a bit more. I haven't looked at the details to be honest. Because the sort of work I do, it's really basically the student's father pays me by PayPal. That's how it works. It's not taxable. It's not the sort of job that and I don't get a huge amount from that. But anyway, the questions I have is how are these restrictions actually going to be policed? That's the most obvious question. So, for example, the police have been empowered to give fines of £30, and in the most extreme scenarios, even arrest. I think there's obvious ones where there are public gatherings. That's a pretty obvious one. You know, you see if the police see a group of 10 people, they can disperse them. That is kind of a given. But let's say you have a group of 5 people and they're a family. They're together. Well, they would need to make it clear that they are a family. Let's say you. One thing I'm a little concerned about is that people who are legitimately going out to get food, get medicine, for exercise, that there might be a sort of stigmatization because of this constant rhetoric of stay at home. And I understand the dynamic here. There has been a lot of stupid people who haven't been listening to advice. They've been going out to parties, to pubs, and so on. That's idiotic. Yeah, I get that. But I don't want to see a situation where people are legitimately getting food and essentials, and they're being treated like they're disobeying the rules, but they're not. You know, the situation is that this is going to be looked at and reviewed in 3 weeks. So you know, messages like this, you must stay at home. Caveat to that is people do need to eat. They do need to get food. So I understand why the Prime Minister's stressing that, but I think the government also needs to stress the caveat. But we understand you need to get food. To me, that's not being reckless. That's a necessity. You know, we need food to survive. It's not a trivial thing. So I understand why the language is hard line. It has to be. But you know, people who have mental health problems, who have anxiety, older people. I keep putting this point, but I think it's very important. They need to be given assurance that they will be provided for. Because there might be people right now with serious anxiety thinking, "Oh, the Prime Minister's forbidding us to buy food," and that's not the situation. But they may think that. That's why it's so important to have clarity on this. Anyway, that's all I really need to say for now. One good thing about all of this is we could slow down a little bit. There's no rush with life anymore. So that's a positive thing. It may actually reduce some stress. However, like I say, some of the rhetoric may also increase anxiety. Um, I don't think we're going to get as bad as Italy. You know, their system was really overwhelmed. However, we cannot be complacent. There is limits on ventilators here, and apparently one London hospital has already said that they're overwhelmed. So I think there were some mistakes made. I think the big supermarkets should have been stricter earlier on in terms of the panic buying. Apparently, this is a pretty British phenomenon. You don't really see it in other parts of Europe. They should have been stricter earlier on with that. The government did give somewhat mixed messages, although I can't fault the Prime Minister right now. They did give mixed messages about, you know, the notion that there would be herd immunity, and then the government backtracked on that. So there seemed to be sort of mixed messages in that regard. Um, right now, I mean, Johnson's message couldn't have been more clear yesterday. I can't fault him for that. It was a very clear speech, very statesmanlike, but some people are saying too little, too late. We'll see. We will see if we now end up containing this or if we do see a real spike. What is a bit concerning is we are in the same trajectory as Italy, and Italy's in a very serious situation. But with Italy, I don't think that the Italian government took as robust measures as we have, so maybe we're in a better position. Time will tell what this is going to look like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. One thing is for sure, realistically, we this cannot be forever. That cannot be an option. We need to learn lessons from it, but the idea that normal life will never return is incredibly, incredibly dystopian, and that's scary. That is scary. You know, the idea we'll never go to the cinema again, we'll never be able to see sporting events. That is that's really like something out of science fiction, and I don't think it'll come to that. But the problem is the only way out of this thing is the vaccine, which will be about a year, and even that is fast, but still, a year is a year. Um, if enough people kind of get immunity to it so that the effects are lessened, or that this is our new norm and we are in lockdown basically forever. Now, to me, that is the most frightening and most bleak scenario, although I don't think it will come to that. I think that we may I think probably the best thing is to review the situation as the government's going to do, reflect on this. The financial side of things can't be underestimated. A lot of people who are self-employed, like I said, there was that petition online, are going to be quite worried. So, you know, people who are on the welfare system, will their money continue to come through? There's a lot of questions that need to be clarified. But I don't want to see a situation where people who are going out for legitimate reasons are being stigmatized as being reckless when they're not. It's something that hasn't really been spoken about, but because there's two extremes, isn't there? People being reckless, going to pubs, congregating in groups, but I don't think that people who are going out for necessary reasons should be labeled as idiots. That is necessary, and we all have to do it. Unless someone has stocked up for months on end with food, we are all going to have to go out at some point. All of us. You know, reporters are out there doing the job. So that's my take. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to add to this, but that's my thoughts right now.